Hey friends. This week in Inkscape, we're going to create this image. It's a relatively simple thing to do, and it has a very strong effect. I'm using the colors for CMYK processes, that being cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And we are going to create the shifted effect. Let me get this finished image out of the way. Here we are with a fresh new page in Inkscape, and I'm going to use my text tool. I'm going to type in shifted, and I'm going to take it and get it more or less center, and I'm going to make this black. And I'm going to go into the text and font dialog, and I'm going to go through my list of fonts to see if one of these fonts speaks to me. I like this font here, Youthy, and I'm going to apply that to the selected text. What I like most about this is that it has rounded edges. And so one more thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to move this up, and I'm going to hit my space bar as I move this piece of text. I'm going to make 4 copies. So when you are moving a selected object and you hit your spacebar in Inkscape, it will create a copy of that object, in this particular case text. And unlike in other videos that we've done so far, we are not going to have to convert this to a path in order to manipulate it. We're essentially going to manipulate it in the ways that text is able to be manipulated by default in Inkscape. Okay? So this first instance of the word shifted, I'm going to make red. Second instance, I'm going to make blue. The third instance, I'm going to make yellow. And the fourth instance, I'm going to leave black. Now, I'm going to select all of them, and I'm going to click on it until the align handles show up. These are the align handles, relatively new in Inkscape. And what I want to do is I want to hit this bottommost handle and then this rightmost handle. And now all of those text objects are stacked one on top of the other. So with that in place, generally speaking, where I want it to be, I'm going to click away. And now when I click again, just the one piece of text is selected and it's black. I'm going to move that out of the way, and I'm going to select the yellow piece of text. I'm going to click it until this skew handle is showing. And by using this skew handle, I'll be able to move it slightly to the left. And I'll now move that slightly out of the way, click away, and click on the blue text. And I'm going to click through until the skew handle is available for that. I'm going to skew that to the right. And then I'll move that slightly out of the way. And now I'll select the red text. I'm going to stretch that a little bit up. Normally, when I'm making these kinds of modifications, I'm very careful to remind you to hold down Control or Control and Shift in order to constrain the proportions to make sure that the text does not get modified in a way that stretches it or takes it out of its shape, but that's precisely what we're going for here. And so no modifier buttons on these operations. And finally, I'm going to select all of these items again, and I'm going to set the opacity to 70 so that they're all a little bit see-through, okay? And I'm going to click on this group of objects until the align handles show up again. I'm going to use those align handles to try to get the bottom edge of the text aligned. And now it's just a game of clicking away so that I'm working with individual pieces. I'm going to align these colored pieces of text with the black text, which is going to stay in the original font, in the original shape, without modification. Now I'll click away and click on the yellow. Whoops, that's the black one. I'll click away and click on the yellow text. Sometimes it can be difficult to select the particular object that you want if they're stacked up like this. And so just make sure that you're choosing the right one. I'm going to click away again, and I'm going to choose the blue text. And I'm essentially lining up the bottom of the H, the I, the F, and the T, and the rest of it will do what it's going to do. Now, finally, I'm going to select all of these and get them more or less in the center of this page in Inkscape. And I'm also going to create a background. And the way that I'll do that is with the rectangle tool. I will create a rectangle. The rectangle still is set to 70 because that was my last opacity that I set. And I'm going to select that background. I'm going to make it white. I'm going to send it to the bottom of the stack so that all these other pieces of text are in front of it. Now, I just chose random yellow, magenta, and cyan, but these are not really believable as those colors. So I'm going to show you another trick. I'm going to import a palette. I'm going to go through my palettes that I've collected to see if I can find a good CMYK example. Here's a great example. So I'll open this image and I will say OK. And what I like about this image is it has a black layer, a magenta layer, a yellow layer, and a cyan layer. I'm going to move it slightly out of the way. And I'm going to select each of these colored pieces. You can see that the fill is set to that red. And I'm going to use my dropper tool, which is right over here. And I'm going to select this magenta over here. And now I'll go back to my selection tool. I will choose yellow and then use my dropper tool and click on the yellow. I like that one. And then finally go back to my selection tool and click on the blue and use my dropper tool and then select that. I really like this set of colors because they're not pure CMYK, but they've already been blended a little bit. And I will get that off of my page so that when we export it, it won't be included. And there we are. That's a pretty fun, very easy CMYK based way of playing with color in Inkscape. So I will hit 5 on my keyboard in order to center on that. I'm not quite happy with the position of that text. I'm going to move it down a little bit. I'll move it down to right about there. Maybe a little bit back up. And just to see, I'm going to select all that and I'm going to change this to 50% and see if that improves the look and feel of that. I kind of feel like it does. And I'm also going to select my black text and I'm going to move that down beneath the other colors and just see whether or not I prefer that. I kind of do. It seems to reveal more of the interaction of the colors. I'll move it back up just to show you the difference. As I move it down, the other colors really come into play. All right, now that we're happy with it, I will save it. I'll save it as shifted.svg, and I will export it. When I export it, I will choose page as my export type, and I will leave this as shifted.png in that same folder and choose export. It finishes very quickly. And there it is. I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope that it is useful as a technique in your toolbox using Inkscape. And if you have any questions about it, of course, you can always reach me at lemazny@gmail.com. Have a great day. Bye.